You're watching Full Spectrum Survival. We're bringing you the news that you need to know. We're getting reports now that shortages are going to hit the United States of America in a couple of months. They say that China is getting ready to gear up for one of the largest holdbacks that the world has ever seen. We've never went through a world in globalization where a trade war, a tariff war, or a goods war has kept the materials out of the US consumer base. Now we're starting to see reports that in just a few months, we could see empty shelves across the United States of America and across other Western allies, just like we saw during the COVID crisis of the early 2020s. The consumer sentiment analysis and the manufacturers that are publishing information, they are starting to say that what China plans to do will wreck the entire US consumer base. This is a big problem. Now, the manufacturers and retailers are going to adhere to an income model or a profit model that makes it harder for the lower to the middle class of Americans to even scrape by. What they're planning to do is to raise prices so high that they don't have to sell as many goods. I've given an example on this channel before where if you sell 5 bikes, the most you can make at $10 per bike is $50. But if you start to charge $30 per bike, less people can afford them. But guess what? You only have to sell 2 out of 5 of those bikes to make more money than you used to. This is a profit model that the retailers are going to start using. And that means that for you and me, things are going to get very trying very soon. Now, with these coming shortages across US retail bases, we're expecting to see a shortage in major areas. The most disrupted areas will be ammunition. We'll see a shortage in the repair products that you are used to using. You take your vehicle to a repair shop. A lot of the goods that are there come from an Asian outlet. You get your AC repaired. Guess what? These are not American made or even Western made components. So the things that you use on a daily basis, from your cell phone to computers to your lights inside of your house, a lot of these things come from China. And if we see shortages there, you're going to see a real change across the United States of America, because you've never lived through a time when people have had lights out because they couldn't get a replacement bulb.
Hey, whoever hurt you from Shark Tank?
All right, Shalom. Koholo, Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakah, Kodash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of the great millstone who teach and rule well, peace and infinite salutations to the elect that are scattered abroad doing this work in truth and in sincerity. All right, and this was a video I came across, Full Spectrum Survival. Okay, and you see the title of the lesson: Empty shelves reported across America. Get ready for the total collapse. Yeah, this place is through, man. Right? America is done. This trade war is still going on. You got, the Middle East, bombs are dropping, as we're doing this lesson. Russia, Ukraine, all the nations are gearing up for war. And, as we've been saying, Bible prophecy is unfolding. The Lord, Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, spoke of these things aforetime, and he's speaking now through the prophets, the men of the Lord. But see, we're entering into the time of JT, right? Jacob's trouble. All right. And these full storehouses and the comfortability of these Americans is about to come to nothing when these full storehouses are empty. Your Publix, your Walmarts, ShopRite, all your grocery stores soon is going to be empty. Okay. And you also have, let me actually see if I can pull this up. Right. This guy, the Pope, died, I believe it was on Easter or the day after Easter. So Yahweh Basham Yahweh Shai is working. All right. Pope Francis dead at 88. Okay. The Vatican announced Monday that Pope Francis was dead. Okay. Which he's a damn, he was rubbing elbows with the elites. But all these damn, these super rich and these guys, they're nothing but front men, for the elites, the ones who are really running the show, which are, the bankers, the Rothschilds, the Rockefellers, the super, super rich, which, by the way, they fund both sides of the wars. Both both sides of these wars that are taking place are being funded by the elites. Okay. But as you see, we're coming into a time where these full storehouses, and there's going to be a lot of empty shelves in the near future. Okay. A lot of empty shelves in the near future with this trade war going on. Right. So we got to prepare spiritually. That is. But hey, Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai is going to be with us, man. But this is 2nd Ezra 6:22. And suddenly shall the sown places appear unsown. The full storehouses shall suddenly be found empty. And this is the prophecy. All right. You're not going to be able to go to Walmart and fill your shopping cart up because there's going to be no more food left, which is going to lead to people starving. And ultimately, people are just going to be killing each other, trying to save their own family, and the scriptures talk about that. There's going to be invading one of another. Why? Because when these full storehouses go empty, and if they go empty for more than 3-4 days, people are going to lose their minds, man. That's all it takes. And see, the time we're coming into, Jacob's trouble, these storehouses is going to be empty for a lot longer than that. Okay. And to even access this food and water that they are going to have, you're going to have to take the microchip. All right. The mark of the beast, which now IUIC is switching their doctrine up yet again, doing the switcheroo. And they're going to keep doing it until the chip comes. And we're going to see what they say. The IUIC, that is. We're going to see what they say. All right. But see, the only reason why people are, acting kind of normal and not killing each other yet, I should say, is because they got food in their stomach, man. They got food in their belly. But hey, Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai is about to touch these Americans. He's about to touch your stomach, man. Okay? Everybody. Great, rich, poor. This is going to affect everybody. Okay? So all praise to Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. But back to 2nd Ezra 6:22. And suddenly shall the sown places appear unsown. The full storehouses shall suddenly be found empty. And that's what's about to happen. Okay. With this trade war going on, whether it happens now, even if they come up with some deal, right? Let's say Trump and China, this whole tariff war going on. Let's say it comes to an end. It doesn't matter because this is according to prophecy. This is going to happen. These full storehouses are soon going to be found empty. And you're already seeing shortages. All right. Verse 23, it says, and the trumpet shall give a sound, and when every man heareth, they shall be suddenly afraid. It says, at that time shall friends fight one against another like enemies. Yeah, so these Americans, they got all their friends, right? Well, soon these friends of yours is going to turn on you. All right? Because it's going to be every man for himself. And your friend that you might have known for 10, 20 years, he's been your neighbor, he's going to be looking to break into your house and steal your food so he can feed his family. Okay? That's the time we're coming into. It says, at that time shall friends fight one against another like enemies. What's going to cause, you got to think about it. What's going to cause friends to fight like enemies? It's going to be life or death situations. And Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai is going to touch these Americans. He's going to touch your stomach. And people are going to lose it. All right? The average American eats 6 meals a day, So the average American doesn't know what it is to go on a fast, okay? What it is to go without food and water for a day, okay? In the time we're coming into, there's going to be a stretch. There's going to be a stretch of no food and water. And we know that Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai is going to be with us. As the scriptures say, my servant shall eat, but you shall be hungry. These Americans, these scoffers, the 2/3, they living it up now, but soon they're going to be in sorrow. All right? Many sorrows, man. right? And so the average American is eating 5 meals a day. You think they're going to go without food for a day? No, they're going to lose their mind. And the crazy part is, you see that here in Florida a lot when the hurricanes come. When the hurricanes come, all the storehouses become empty. And there's a demonic spirit on people when them storehouses become empty, man. All right. Even back during the C-19, the COVID era, when they were rationing your food, you can only get a certain amount of food per family or whatever. People was in a demonic spirit. Okay. But how much when it's lights out for America? When there's no food in Walmart, and it's not just for a day, it's for a week, 2 weeks, and then when the system finally gets back running and they got food and water, you're going to have to take a microchip to get it. All right. So these people are about to feel some sorrow, and us believers of Yahweh Shem Yahushua, we're going to be in the midst of this, but Yahweh Shem Yahushua is going to be with us. All right. So let's get it again. 2 Ezra 6:24. At that time shall friends fight one against another like enemies. Friends going to be fighting like enemies in that day. Best friends. And the earth shall stand in fear with those that dwell therein. The springs of the fountain shall stand still, and in 3 hours they shall not run. Yeah, so you're not going to have no running water. And the real living water, the men of the Lord, the truth, which is likened unto living water, this knowledge, wisdom, and understanding that we talk about, the prophecies, everything. We're not going to be doing these videos and going to the street corners preaching when all hell is breaking loose. So during this time of Jacob's trouble, that's like the gates of mercy is being shut. Whoever needed to be in the ark before the flood is in the ark during that time. And you might have a few, the 11th hour Jake that's going to wake up. But for the most part, if you don't have this truth during the time of Jacob's trouble, you are through. And we are fastly approaching that time. 2 Ezra 6:25 says, whosoever remaineth from all these that have told thee shall escape. And that's where our hope is at, to escape this time, man, to be fed in a famine, which the Most High is going to do that for his elect. That's why it's so important to serve Yahweh Shem Yahushua with fear and with trembling, because we are entering into the worst time of history, bro. You're not going to be able to compare anything on earth to the time of Jacob's trouble. Okay? It says, whosoever remaineth from all these that I have told thee shall escape and see my salvation in the end of your world. And that's what man, that's the greatest part of all of this, is being able to see the downfall of Esau Edom, the so-called white man, and his kingdom that he has here. Okay? We're about to see this devil fall, and we're already seeing him fall, but we're about to see him collapse. All right? We're about to see him collapse. All right? So we in some very, very beautiful times, man. So call hello Yahweh Shem Yahushua. So let's get this real quick. Let's go to Ezekiel 7:15. The sword is without, and the pestilence and the famine within. Okay? So the sword is without, because in the modern day sword is these guns. And the pestilence and the famine is within. So not only on top of the famine you're going to have, this devil's releasing new diseases into the world every single day. There's new diseases, popping up out of nowhere. And don't be surprised if there's another scamdemic, and on top of all of this stuff that's taking place, imagine the world gets hit with a pandemic today, on top of everything that takes place, bro, that's taking place right now. And it's not far-fetched. And during the time of the first pandemic, they even told you prepare for the second one. All right? This guy kills snakes, right? They was telling you about that. Dark Winter, Operation Warp Speed. Okay, which that's how they want to roll out this microchip. Operation Warp Speed is going to be quick. And that's why the Spirit's been on the elder apostle Tahar to say, when Jacob's trouble pops off, things is going to take place fast, quick. You might be, if Jacob's Trouble popped off today, we could be out of here in a month or so. Speaking as a man, that, you know, whenever Jacob's Trouble pops off, things is going to happen very, very quick. All the other prophecies is going to line up. It's going to take place very fast. So we at the end of this man's kingdom, and we're witnessing the end of this world, the end of Esau's rulership, because we know that the end of the world doesn't mean that the earth is going to just explode. No, the end of the world is talking about the end of the so-called white man being on the top and the so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans being on the bottom. That role is going to switch. We're going to go to the top, and these devils are going to go to the bottom. Quick, overnight. All right? Rags to riches, and Esau is going to go from riches to rags. All right? And we're already seeing the collapse of America. We're already seeing these other nations, you know, joining together, dropping the American dollar. You know, nations are joining unto Russia. All according to prophet. That's Ezekiel 38. So everything's happening according to the will of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua. We see it. The men, the household of faith, the believers of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua, we see what's taking place. And we're grateful. And we rejoice at the downfall of this place, man. We rejoice. All right? So let me go ahead and play a little bit more of this. Let's see what he's got to say. I'm not going to play the whole thing, and then I'll grab some more.
It's a couple months advance notice. It means that right now you and I have the ability to go out there and stock up on some of those common goods. Kelly, my wife.
Which you should be stocking up on is faith. All right, because food and water ain't going to be able to save you in that day. Okay? All right, what is that? Isaiah 33:6. For wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy times, not food and water. Which, hey, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua knows that we need food and water. But you're going to have people that have stocked up food and water, and they're going to die by the sword. You know, their neighbor's going to kill them. You know? You done stocked up a whole warehouse of rice and beans and all this, fruits and vegetables, all this, right? And you die. You might not even be at your house when the collapse happens, when this shit pops off, and you die somewhere in the streets. And those bunkers that are set up, hey, that's really for the elect. Don't be surprised, brothers of the faith. Yeah, you go a day or two without eating, but Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua leads you to a bunker. I believe that's going to happen. I believe these bunkers that these doomsday preppers are prepping up for, you know, stockpiling, that's for the elect. Most High going to show the elect where these bunkers are at.
Wife and I, we call this a 1-year plan. You get 1 year's worth of everything you think you're going to need in that year's period. It might be like we talked about yesterday, an extra window AC unit. That way, if your major AC unit goes out, you have a way to get air conditioning or climate control in your house.
Which, you know, I believe this guy's an Edomite. And this is how Edomites think. They don't have faith. They have to prepare carnally. And there's no way to prepare carnally for what is about to take place on this earth. Okay? Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua is about to strike this place down harder than ever. Okay? But this is Ezekiel 7:15. It says, the sword is without, and the pestilence and the famine within. He that is in the field shall die with the sword, and he that is in the city, famine and pestilence shall devour him. So people are going to be starving to death. That's part of the plagues that Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua is going to send to this place, man. For all the wickedness and abominations that's being done in America, there's a judgment that comes behind that. Jacob's trouble, especially for you Israelites, you 2/3, you know, you niggas and you know, bitches out here that's twerking and niggas selling drugs, doing drugs, all this crazy shit going on. Adultery, wicked and adulterous generation, right? The Lord got something sweet coming for you. Okay? Not literally. All right? The Lord got something planned, and that's Jacob's trouble. Okay? This is Sirach 40:9. It says, death and bloodshed, strife and sword, calamities and famine, tribulation and the scourge. These things are created for the wicked, and for their sakes came the flood. Right, going back to the time of Noah, Hey, the Lord had to flood the whole earth because of all the wickedness, and he only saved Noah and his family, okay? His sons and their wives, right? And that represents the elect, okay? And right now we building an ark, getting ready for this flood to come. All right, but all of this stuff, death, famine, sword, strike, that was created for the wicked. Okay, and these same wicked spirits that were back during the time of Noah, they're back on earth again today, being wicked. So Yahweh Basham Yahushua got to destroy this place, and he's going to. All right, he's going to destroy this place by the fire that's coming. I'm gonna grab this and we'll close it out. Lamentations 4:9. It says, "They that be slain with the sword are better than they that be slain with hunger." So it's better to die by a gun or a sword than to die by starvation. That's one of the worst ways to go out. And that's going to be the fate of a lot of these Americans, bro. A lot of these Americans, they're going to starve to death. We're going to see a lot of people starve to death. Old and young, babies, children starving to death. And that's one of the worst ways you can go out. Your body start eating itself alive. All right, that pain is heavy. But it says, "They that be slain with the sword are better than they that be slain with hunger. For these pine away, stricken through for want of the fruits of the field." Yeah, you start hallucinating, you bugging out, your stomach growling, rumbling, until ultimately you just give out. You so weak, you still alive. You're just so weak because you're malnourished. You don't got no type of nourishment. You're alive. Your eyes is open, but you can't even move. And you just feel pain everywhere. That's the type of pain that Yahweh Basham Yahushua is going to bring upon the wicked, man. All these wicked people on earth, bro. Hey, Yahweh Basham Yahushua got something special, a special judgment for you wicked niggas, man. All right. So, hey, these empty shelves, don't be surprised. You start seeing more and more empty shelves with this trade war, everything taking place, man. All right. So, with that, call Lord Yahweh Basham Yahushua. Next time, shalom.